back to HTM Insider. I'm Sherelle with Multi Medical Systems, MMS, your host, and I'm excited today about our guest, Jennifer Chester. I know you guys know her. You probably want to know more about her like I do. I'm going to let Jennifer introduce herself, and we're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff today regarding her book and some other insights that she has. Hi, Jennifer, and welcome to HTM Insider.
Hi, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so just grateful to be here today. And like you stated earlier, my name is Jennifer Chester. I am a Biomed level 2 for Crothall Health, and I work in Houston, Texas. And I don't know what else you guys want to know about me. I wrote a book, of course.
Yeah. Well, first of all, how did you become a biomed? What's your path? It's always interesting to hear about how people got into this industry because it's kind of obscure field choice, a career choice, you know?
It is. Everybody's journey is always so different when I hear it. So the way I got in, basically, I went to college for art. And I loved art, but I realized that it wasn't paying a whole ton of money when I got out of school. So I I decided that I wanted to be in the Air Force Reserves. So I joined the Air Force Reserves just to get some training and also just to get that military experience as well. And when I transitioned out of the Air Force, I was just kind of looking through some different jobs that might be transferable, that I could use the knowledge that I gained in the Air Force as an avionics technician. And biomed jobs started to pop up, and I decided to apply for a couple, and I landed one at DaVita. So it started there. And from there, I went on to do a lot of contract jobs for larger medical companies, and I've been in it ever since.
What a great story. Now, I know you were just at Amy and you were signing books, which is amazing. We got to talk about Bella first, right? Let's talk about Bella's Big Fix. What a storyline you got going on there. Tell us about it.
So, Bella's Big Fix is just the story of a girl that really loves tools and loves tinkering, as I did when I was little. And then even my little kids now, my two babies, they love to do that kind of thing. And she grows up to be a biomed, and she realizes that, her talents could be used to save people one machine at a time. So,
I
yeah.
mean, I love seeing it. I've loved the book. I gotta ask, are you the illustrator?
I am the illustrator.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know you had an art background, and I was really curious about that. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do
Yeah.
great
So
work.
thank
So
you. Thank
what wa-
you.
what was your inspiration to write a book or start this? I mean, where did you see a need?
So I work with kids all the time. I have a nonprofit organization called NextJenn TechMom's Mobile Discovery Museum. So working with kids all the time with STEM and different computational activities that we do with robots and stuff like that, I just realized the power of storytelling, when they are really zoned in on a story, or how to like get them, I guess, to know about things. It's easier when you can tell them a story about it, or kind of give them a map, or give them a little background on what other people are doing. I even did it in my activity booklets. I had like what do you call it? It was an engineer highlight. So whenever I do activity booklets for the kids, so every activity booklet has an engineer highlight inside of it, and they read stories of like the youngest software engineer, or like read stories of the first the inventor of the telephone, or the inventor of the microphone, and they would be really interested by that. So I realized that I could get across to them if I told the story of a biomed. So
And what do you hone in on as a message to the kids? Is it to become a biomed, to be more curious? Are you targeting little girls, boys, both?
I hope to target any of those. Of course, Bella is a girl, because I'm a
He
girl
looks a
and
lot like you.
and I love to, representation really matters to me. I think that even if it's a little boy seeing a little girl doing it, just the not having the surprise of a little girl doing a job like that or growing up to be something like that. But I hope that it inspires any of those little boys, little girls, all of them. So, um, yeah.
Well, I think it's great. I have two young grandchildren, and you bet that when they're ready, when it's, 1.5 and 3 months, they're not quite yet there yet.
Oh, early.
But I know that I'm going to share Bella's big fix with them. I think it's important that we start that message young because I'm still asked all the time, what do you do? And I
Yeah,
might not turn a wrench, but it's still hard to explain what biomeds do.
right.
Um, right. And how they impact patient safety and patient care.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a close friend who is a school counselor, and she, is inspiring kids every day to start taking a path, or moving in a direction. And before I became a biomed, she had no idea what it was. So just her having that insight gives her the means to add that path to the things that she can introduce to her kids. So visibility is very important. Showing that it exists and exactly what it does, because a lot of times when you say it, I get two responses. I get I have no idea what that is, or that sounds really complicated. you know
Uh-huh.
um, so just giving, a very clear understanding of what it is that we do can just change, make a big change in how people perceive it.
And I think the older we get, the harder it is to wrap our minds around it. And children are so open to
Mm-hmm.
any type of experience and so open to learning. Just like in language, the younger you learn the language, the longer it sticks with you. So the earlier we
Absolutely.
introduce clinical engineering,
Languages.
biomed to,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is. We use a lot
Yeah.
of acronyms in healthcare, and it just is
Right.
another language, right? But learn the tools, and I think it's amazing.
Right.
So, what have you seen so far? What is the impact and experience that people maybe are coming back to you going, "Oh, I read this book or I saw this book." What kind of impact are you experiencing with this
I,
book?
Man, it's having an impact that I never imagined that it would have when I sat down to write Bella's Big Fix, and when I started, working on the pictures and trying to put the book together. Um, I just never imagined that it would have the impact that it does. And I do see like a lot of people come up to me and be like, man, that story was really inspiring. It even made me want to get out and be in biomed. And I'm talking about like adults. So
Uh-huh.
it's made it's made a pretty big impact. And then recently I went to a summer camp just for an hour, to talk to them about Bella. And then we worked on some other STEM programs or STEM projects that they love to do. They made their own video game, and that was exciting. But they were able to learn about Bella and what Bella does every day. And they had tons of questions, and they wanted to read the book, and they wanted to touch the doll, and you know what I mean? So they seemed
Oh,
very,
that's
very interested.
awesome.
So that really made me happy, because that, like I said, like you said, introducing this to them when they're young is important, simply because like when you ask a child what they want to be when they grow up, they have a lot of answers, but biomed is not one of them.
Mhm.
So to me, it's really important, or it's really nice to hear now that they have kind of some insight on what we do, and they can make that choice, whether they make it or not, but at least it's available to them, and they realize that it's available to them.
I can't imagine the process that you've gone through and the money that you spent probably out of your own pocket to develop a book published and then getting it out
Yeah.
there and all that. I mean, kudos to you. What an
Thank you.
undertaking.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
inspiring.
it really, to be honest, it's been just a lot of time and dedication that I put into doing it. And then, I self-published, so it wasn't super expensive for the publishing part, but I did go to an editor, a private editor on the side, and you know what I mean, some other things just to make sure that it was perfect, because I didn't want to put out anything that I couldn't be proud of.
Now, where can parents get this book sent to them? How do they buy it?
So I'm currently only selling it via Ingram Spark, but that is because all of the proceeds from the sale of the book do go towards NextJenn TechMom's Mobile Discovery Museum. We're now developing a program where kids can learn about medical devices. They can actually put their hands on medical devices. We've done a couple of classes already, where they get to play with like vein finders. They always think those are really cool because they think it's like X-ray vision, but and they built different things. Like I had them put together their own stethoscope, stuff like that. And we want to expand on that. So we want to, take those proceeds and put them towards more complicated and more, fun programs for the kids to actually be involved in. So it's only being sold on Ingram Spark because, the other distributors do take a large chunk of the proceeds. So
Yeah, well, that's awesome. And we'll make sure to add that link when we put this podcast out. You know, when we were talking about NextJenn Tech Moms, I looked it up. It looks really cool. It looks like it's mobile. And so
yes,
you're the person behind that as well?
yes. So
Wow.
I'm the founder of NextJenn Tech Mom's Mobile Discovery Museum. So we bring our Mobile Discovery Museum to the Woodlands Parks and Recreation every second Saturday of the month. And I have a Young Innovators Club who shows up, and we get to, do different projects. My motto is learn it, build it, play it. So we always learn about a skill first, or learn about, some subject, and then after that, then we get to build something. Like, say for instance, we've done microphones. Like, we'll learn about microphones and how they work and why we use them and how we use them in our everyday life. And then we actually get to build our own microphones. And then once we build our microphones, after that, we get to play karaoke with our microphones.
How
So for like,
fun.
a short period after we build the microphones, we do a little karaoke with the microphones. The kids enjoy it and have some fun. But it's just learning about how things are made and why we use them, and, just giving them more insight on the world around them and how it works.
So inspiring. And I got to tell the listeners, I mean, if you have not met Jennifer in person, she's infectious. Like her smile, her laughter, just being around her. The first time I
Thank
met her,
you.
I knew you had to come on HTM Insider. I think we were in Florida, maybe. I can't remember when I met you first. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you. That means a
You're
lot.
welcome. You're welcome. So for our listeners that don't know where you're based out of, I know you mentioned Woodlands. Tell us like where you're
Yes.
at, and if they're in the area, where to find you maybe on that Saturday.
So on that Saturday, it's at the Bear Branch Recreation Center in the Woodlands, Texas. Every second Saturday of the month. We don't miss one, except, well, over the summertime, we do miss the summertime just because a lot of our kids will go out of town for vacation. So we don't get a lot of kids who come in over the summertime. But we start up again in August, second Saturday in August. We will be there and having a good time at the Bear Branch Recreation Center.
Now, for listeners that you don't know, Woodlands is just in the greater Houston area. It's down by the water,
Yes.
if I recall correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area. So if you're in the area and you're curious about bringing your kids by, I know you can reach out to Jennifer and she'll be happy to give you all the dates, times, and details.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I gotta tell you how inspiring you are. So I just want to dive in a little bit further on your experience as a biomed. So you're a biomed too. What are your
Yes.
aspirations to grow in this career field? I mean, you're already making such an impact. You're already a leader. You're becoming like just a known personality in the HTM world. We want to know what you're looking for next.
Right now, I love so much what I do. I love the turning screwdrivers part of what I do. I also love the direct impact that I see every day. I'm in field service, so I also love, the kind of freedom of it and being able to um kind of, you know, do things at my own pace and everything. But I hope at one point I can move up to management because I would really love to manage a team or manage people just because I hope that I can be a really good manager to them and to train and to, build that next level of biomeds.
Yeah, I think you'd be an awesome mentor to so many coming in the field. Now, when you talk about field service, and for listeners that are just getting into the industry or curious about the industry, you want to take a moment to explain field service versus in-house biomed and the different type of jobs that are out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in both. I have been, well, I was kind of in-house when I was working with DaVita because I was working at a specific hospital in their unit. And then I moved on to doing more field service related positions. And field service is more freedom. You're not like narrowed down to like one hospital or one center. You're more spread out. So currently I work for Harris Health, the ACS clinics on the outside of the county hospital system, which means that I don't cover just one clinic. I cover several clinics around, that means travel, right? So that means I have to move around. I don't get to stay in one place, but I manage a bunch of different clinics in the area. So I think that that's the difference. The difference really is that you kind of have more freedom and you're on your own. You're almost on an island a little bit, but at the same time, you still get to perform those same tasks, just in a different capacity with the travel involved.
Yeah, I think that, I think it's good to have a diverse background and coming from DaVita, which is a completely different program. It's still,
Yeah,
biomed for sure, but those are totally different. It's totally different than what you see maybe in the in-house program and a field service.
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
It is totally different.
so if you had a crystal ball and you can see into the future, what do you think these elementary kids school their inspiration and coming into the field, do you think we're going to see a lot getting into biomed because we're so shorthanded, right?
Yes, yes, we are. And I'm hoping that this changes things simply for visibility reasons. I'm hoping that they can see that it's there. I think that a lot of people, like we talked about at the beginning, a lot of people kind of trip and fall into biomed, right? So they kind of like end up here because of life circumstances or because somebody whispered in their ear or somebody pointed them in this direction. So I feel like if we start getting them young enough, between the ages of like 8 and 12, like starting to at least know that it exists or know that this is a viable career field as well, then they can start making choices towards what their future looks like earlier. Um, that's my hope. If I, like you said, if I was to look into a crystal ball, I would hope to see that, when they start getting into high school, they start making more choices towards STEM related careers and then making, choices towards biomed at the end of their high school matriculation.
I really feel biomed, we should do field trips to biomed shops. You do
Yeah,
field trips, you do, right? You do field trips to the police station, the fire station. You know, I think it'd be
right,
great.
exactly.
And there's
Yeah,
so much room
I
in
thought about
healthcare.
that too. I was thinking about, I'm sorry. I was thinking how, like, they bring fire trucks to the school and the kids would get all excited because they've got, the hoses and they've got all the, stuff. And I was like, we've got cool stuff too. We could bring to schools,
Right.
and show them what we do. And show them how important it is, and also give them an opportunity to put their hands on it, just like you said, like a policeman comes in and at the last career day I was at, the policeman came in and he was a hit because he had his bulletproof vest, and they could see how heavy it was. And just bringing in a couple of devices for them to look at. I know when I went to career day, I brought my own personal blood pressure cuff, and I had the kids guess. First I had them guess what I did, which I knew nobody would guess, so they guessed doctor and all kinds of other stuff. But when I finally told them what I did, then we went through troubleshooting how to make, why the blood pressure cuff wasn't working, and all I did was separate the blood pressure cuff from the device. And they're like, well,
Right.
the air has to get to the cuff. Well, how did it get to the cuff? How do you fix it? So we go through that stuff in like first grade, second grade classes, and they were just really excited to check their own blood pressure. You'd be surprised just having the kids check their own blood pressure. They were just excited to do that.
Yeah,
So,
that's a big
yeah,
thing.
right.
So, I know that Amy and Danielle do a great job with, HTM in a box and outreach. But don't you think that somehow if we could get into every counselor and every teacher's hand this
Yes.
exciting career, right?
Yes.
And I know Chase Torres has a great book. If we could
Yeah.
get these into the hands of preschool teachers, kindergarten teachers, early elementary, where they can
Right.
start reading about it and learning about it, I think it could change the industry overall.
Absolutely. And I mean, and with that being said, I think both me and Chase have tried to do some donations to like local libraries or to schools. I know I've donated to several classrooms. Like my kids, I got a call in the middle of the night from my children's English teacher. She called me and she said, are you still signing books? Can you bring me a book? And I was like, absolutely, I'll bring you a book. If you promise to read it, I will bring it up there. So I brought her a book so that she could, read it to her class. And that's how we're going to get the word out. Just, making sure that it gets in the right hands and making sure that people are sharing this with their kids.
Well, you're gonna have to get me some signed copies so I can help spread the word about Bella's Big Fix. And
Absolutely.
I'll make sure we get some copies in my daughter's school. She teaches 4-year-olds and moving up to like 5, 6-year-olds. So I'll make sure it's on her reading list. She would love to.
Yeah.
They're all about, taking the kids outside and learning how things work and how things grow. So this fits right into it. So
Right. Yeah.
I'm just amazed by you. You really inspire
Well,
me to
thank
do
you.
better. I know that everyone that sees you, you're constantly giving hugs on the conference floor. That smile is so contagious.
And everybody is just so kind and so, so sweet. I love being in this industry because it's almost like a catch-22, because I love how small it is and how intimate it is, and how comfortable it is. But we want to grow, right? We want to grow bigger, and that's going to be a really great thing. But I also love all of the people that, that are just in this industry, because they all have like, we all have like this compassionate spirit, and I just really love it. So I appreciate seeing your very friendly face every time I go to the conferences as well.
Oh, thank you so much. For those of you listening and maybe you're thinking about HTM as a career field, there is no other place that when you attend a conference that you could see so many people giving hugs, handshakes,
Yeah.
smiles. It's great to see you. It's a small community. It's like a giant family reunion every time we're at a conference. So if you
Yes.
like that feel, HTM is definitely for you. Wouldn't you agree, Jennifer?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
So we like to end every episode with a wow word of wisdom here on HTM Insider. So I'm
Okay.
very excited to see what you have for us today. Jennifer, what's your wow?
So my wow, my words of wisdom, I always say this, but create your own path. Okay. Don't wait for somebody to create the path for you. Don't wait for it to open up. Just make sure that you're creating your own path and you're living the best you in that path.
I love that. You're right. Sometimes we get so influenced by the outside world and social media. Just be you,
Just be
right?
you, just be you, and it'll all come together. All the dots will start to connect.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, so much for coming on today. And again, if you guys haven't read the book, you haven't seen it, you go find Jennifer on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
She's very active. If you need to be connected with her and you can't find her, reach out to me. I'll make sure you get connected. Check out Bella's Big Fix. If there's someone that you know that could do some inspiration in the HTM world through the young readers, I know that Jennifer would be happy to help you. Thanks again, Jennifer, and thank you all for tuning in to HTM Insider. Just a reminder, you can find us anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. And if you are a CBET and seeking CE credits, you listen through TechNation, and every episode of HTM Insider is worth one CE credit for 30 minutes of your time. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on HTM Insider.